The night she met the stranger, the path was empty. No drums, no voices, only dust and cold wind. She was returning late, her feet tired, her heart heavier than her body. Then she saw a figure sitting by the road, bent back, dry hands, eyes that did not blink. The woman did not greet her. She only lifted a small folded cloth from her lap. "Take this," the voice said. It sounded old, older than the village, older than the land. The girl hesitated. The fabric looked plain. No color, no shine, just soft and clean, folded tight like it was protecting something inside. When she touched it, her fingers shook. The air grew still. The stranger leaned closer. Her breath smelled of earth and rain. "This will guard you," she said. "It will stay with you. It will hear everything. But there is one rule." She paused. The night pressed closer. "Never remove the cloth." The words fell heavy, clear, sharp. The girl nodded, confused, afraid, but grateful. The figure held her wrist and repeated it slowly, as if carving it into bone. "Never remove the cloth." The warning burned. The cloth was placed into her hands, warm like skin. She asked what would happen if she failed, but the old face hardened. "Never remove the cloth." No explanation, no comfort. The girl tried to ask who she was, but the wind rose suddenly. Dust filled the road. When she wiped her eyes, the place was empty. No footsteps, no shadow, only silence and the folded cloth resting against her chest. She stood there long, listening. The rule echoed in her head. Never remove the cloth. She wrapped it around herself before taking another step. Behind her, the night closed. Ahead, the village lights flickered, unaware that a rule older than memory had just chosen her. From that night on, life did not soften. Days passed, seasons turned. She remained the one no one chose. At gatherings, space formed around her like an invisible wall. When women whispered about marriage, their eyes skipped her face. When men laughed, it was never meant for her. She worked harder than most. She carried water before sunrise. She stayed late in the fields. Still, no hand reached for hers. No promise was spoken in her direction. Even children sensed it. They asked their mothers why she always walked alone. At ceremonies, she stood at the edge, always watching, always waiting. Suitors came to the village from far places, but their eyes slid past her, as if she were part of the ground. Younger women were picked quickly. Older ones still had hope. She had neither. At night, she lay on her mat and pressed the cloth close. It was the only thing that felt like it stayed. She remembered the voice, the warning, the seriousness of it. She did not fully understand it, but she obeyed. Obedience was easy. Love was not. Her only desire was simple. Not wealth, not praise. Just one person to see her and stay. One voice to say her name without shame. She prayed quietly, careful not to anger anything unseen. She asked for love the way thirsty land asks for rain. But mornings returned empty. Gossip grew. Some said she carried bad luck. Others said she was cursed from birth. No one said it to her face, but silence said enough. When her mother died, no man came forward. When her father followed, she buried him alone. Still, she remained gentle. She smiled when spoken to. She helped when asked. Inside, something tightened every day. A knot made of waiting. She did not know it yet, but her loneliness was being watched. The rule wrapped around her life like a quiet thread. And though she had done nothing wrong, the village had already decided her worth. The change came quietly. No announcement, no sign. It began with small things. A man borrowed her basket for the market. He sold everything before noon. Another rested in her shade during heat. His sickness eased by evening. Anyone who stayed near her left with more than they arrived with. She noticed it slowly. When people passed through her space, luck followed them away. Better harvests, sudden money, unexpected favor. Yet nothing clung to her. Her hands remained empty. Her nights stayed silent. At first, she thought it was coincidence. Then it repeated, again and again. A trader spoke with her briefly, then found a buyer waiting. A farmer argued with her, then his goats doubled by the next moon. The pattern became hard to ignore. Whispers changed tone. People no longer avoided her completely. They lingered. They asked small favors. They sat longer than needed. But they never offered anything back. When she smiled, they smiled wider. When she turned away, they followed opportunity elsewhere. She did not understand why. She only knew the cloth never left her body. She washed around it. She slept with it. She feared the warning even more now. Never remove the cloth. The sentence lived in her chest. One evening, an elder watched from afar. His eyes narrowed. He said nothing. But the next day, men began visiting her more often. Not with love, with interest. Their voices were sweet. Their intentions were thin. She felt used without being touched, benefiting others without reward. Like a path everyone crossed, but no one stayed on. The secret settled heavy in her bones. Something about her brought gain. Something unseen traveled through her. She wondered if it came from the cloth. The thought scared her. She pushed it away. She remembered the voice by the road, the stillness, the dust, and the rule, firm as stone. Never remove the cloth. So she endured. She stayed quiet. She kept walking alone. But now the village had begun to circle her, and hunger had entered their eyes. He came quickly. No waiting, no hesitation. One morning he greeted her with a smile too sure of itself. By evening he was walking beside her. He spoke of destiny, of how he had always noticed her. His voice was loud enough for others to hear. Within days he claimed her openly, said he would marry her. The village murmured in surprise. She felt light for the first time, chosen, seen. He held her hand in public. He praised her patience. He promised a home. As he stayed near her, his life changed. His business grew fast. Buyers lined up. Debts vanished. People praised his wisdom. He smiled wider every day. She watched from behind, proud but uneasy. She gained nothing. No gifts, no comfort. Only hope. Then the tone shifted. He stopped asking how she felt. He counted money while she cooked. He slept easily while she stayed awake. Soon jokes about her spread. He laughed with others about how lucky he was, how simple she was to control. The betrayal came at the square. Loud, sharp. He stood among men and said he could never marry a woman like her. Said she was useful but not worthy. Laughter followed. Faces turned toward her. She froze. Shame burned her skin. He did not look back. He packed his things that same night, left with full pockets and a clean name. By morning he was gone. The village watched her walk alone again. Some shook their heads. Some smiled cruelly. She pressed the cloth tighter against herself. Her heart cracked but did not break. She remembered the warning, the tone, the finality. Never remove the cloth. She did not cry in public. She swallowed the pain. The cycle had begun, though she did not yet know how many times it would repeat. He arrived before the wound closed. This one was softer in voice, slower in step. He said he understood her pain. He said the first had been foolish. He swore he was different. She hesitated. The village watched closely. Some warned her quietly. Others encouraged it. Hungry for another story, she agreed, tired of being alone. Fortune followed him faster than the last. His animals multiplied. His name rose. People sought his advice. He thanked her in private but never shared the gain. She cooked. She waited. She hoped. Soon his kindness thinned. He began correcting her in front of others. Small insults at first, then laughter, then orders. When she lowered her eyes, he smiled. The humiliation came during a feast. Music played. Cups were raised. He stood and announced he would take another bride. Younger. Richer. He pointed at her and said she was only a bridge, a path to better things. Gasps filled the air. She felt the ground move beneath her. He walked away that night with gifts and praise. She returned to her mat with nothing but noise in her ears. This time, whispers were louder. Women laughed behind their hands. Men stared openly. She felt smaller than before. The cloth felt heavier. Like it knew. She remembered the rule again. It was the only thing that had not betrayed her. Never remove the cloth. Anger tried to rise, but fear pushed it down. She stayed silent. She stayed standing. But something inside her dimmed. Hope thinned like old thread. The village had learned a lesson. Being close to her brought reward. Loving her brought none. By the time the next one came, the village was watching. Eyes followed every step. Murmurs moved faster than feet. People no longer pretended surprise. They waited to see how it would end. This man was bold. He did not hide his interest. He spoke of marriage on the first day. He brought witnesses. He wanted everyone to see him, choose her. She felt nothing but tired. As he stayed near, his rise was sudden. Land expanded. Respect followed. Elders nodded at him. He walked taller each morning. She remained where she was. Soon, others noticed. Women counted days. Men compared gains. The pattern was clear now. Being close to her brought favor. Leaving her brought freedom. He began to change in public. His voice sharpened. He corrected her loudly. When she served him, he did not thank her. When people laughed, he joined first. The breaking came during a council meeting. He stood and denied ever promising her anything. Said she misunderstood. Said she chased him. The lie spread fast. Laughter followed again. She did not defend herself. Her silence became proof. He left the gathering praised for his honesty. She walked home alone under many eyes. That night, stones hit her wall. Not hard, just enough to remind her. She held the cloth and shook. The warning returned, steady and cold. Never remove the cloth. Hope weakened, not shattered, just bent. The village no longer saw a woman. They saw a source, a tool, and she felt it too. After that, they stopped pretending. Men came openly for gain. They stayed briefly. They left quickly. No promises, no shame. Everyone understood the exchange. She did not protest. She was tired. Exhaustion softened her resistance. When they asked to sit near her, she allowed it. When they asked to stay the night, she turned her face away and nodded. Each one left improved, stronger, richer, praised. She remained unchanged. Each departure chipped away at her dignity. The village watched without hiding it. Women warned their daughters. Men joked freely. Her name became a signal. Opportunity. Easy favor. Nothing more. Shame lived on her skin. She avoided the well at busy hours. Children mocked her walk. Elders said nothing. Silence had chosen a side. At night, she scrubbed herself until her hands burned. The cloth never moved. It clung to her like a second body. Sometimes she hated it. Sometimes she feared it. Always, she remembered the rule. Never remove the cloth. The sentence had become heavier than hunger, heavier than loneliness. It ruled her choices. It ruled her body. She accepted this life not from desire, but from weariness. Love felt far. Dignity felt borrowed. She existed because morning kept arriving. The village took and took. No one gave. And still, the gain continued. People whispered that she was no longer human, that she belonged to something else. She heard it all. She said nothing. Her lowest point had arrived, and the ground beneath her was about to shift. It happened without warning. One morning she woke before dawn and felt heat against her skin. Not pain, not fear, warmth. The cloth pressed tighter, then loosened on its own. She froze, breath held. The rule echoed in her mind, sharp and clear. But she did not touch it. She stood slowly. When her feet met the ground, something felt different, lighter, stronger. She stepped outside, and the air itself seemed to pause. At the well, women stared. Buckets slipped from hands. Her posture had changed. Her face looked fuller. Her eyes held a calm that silenced noise. Even the way she breathed drew attention. By midday, news ran faster than children. Men gathered. Elders leaned on staffs. No one spoke at first. They only looked. The one they had used now stood above them in presence alone. Her voice carried weight when she spoke. Simple words caused silence. Traders bowed slightly without knowing why. Gifts appeared at her door. Food, cloth, coins. Respect followed her shadow. She did nothing to earn it. She only walked. The cloth had changed too. It no longer felt like burden. It felt like command, like a crown no one could see. She remembered the warning and felt fear tighten her chest. Never remove the cloth. The rule pulsed, alive. The village shifted. Those who laughed now lowered their eyes. Those who mocked now praised. Mothers pushed daughters forward. Men begged for a glance. She had become what they feared and desired. Power settled on her without asking permission. That night, drums played for her name. Fires burned brighter. She stood alone in the light, aware that the ground had moved. A line had been crossed, though she had not stepped. And somewhere in the dark, the price began to breathe. The pressure came quickly, too quickly. Power attracts hands, requests stacked at her door. Bless this. Sit here. Speak my name. People wanted more than her presence now. They wanted control. One evening during a crowded gathering, a woman pushed forward, jealous, shaking. She shouted that the cloth was the source, that nothing else made sense. Murmurs exploded, eyes fixed on her body. Heat rose, fear spread like fire. Someone yelled that the rule was a lie. Another voice dared her to prove it. Hands reached out but stopped short. The crowd waited. Her heart hammered. The warning thundered inside her skull. Never remove the cloth. The sentence cut through noise, ancient and unbending. A child cried. A man laughed nervously. The moment stretched. Then, in the chaos, a hand brushed the cloth by accident. Just a touch. Just enough. The air snapped. Her voice failed. Her legs weakened. The light around her dimmed like a dying flame. People screamed. Those who had gained before clutched their chests. Coins turned to dust. Food rotted in baskets. Animals dropped where they stood. Panic tore through the square. She fell to her knees, breath stolen. Pain ripped through her body, sharp and public. The cloth burned against her skin, heavy with judgment. She did not remove it. She could not. But the near breaking was enough. The village watched everything collapse in one breath. Prosperity turned to fear. Praise turned to curses. The same mouths that sang her name now spat it. People ran from her like she carried death. She lay there shaking, knowing the truth at last. The rule had not been kind. It had been strict. And mercy had limits. In the silence that followed, only one sentence remained alive inside her. Never remove the cloth. And this time it sounded like a sentence already paid for. When the village emptied, one figure remained. He stood at the edge of the square, uncertain. Older now, thinner. His eyes held recognition, not hunger. He had known her before the cloth, before the gain, before the shame. He had spoken to her when no one watched, shared food without expecting return. Left with nothing but her smile, he stepped closer carefully. Others shouted for him to stay away. He ignored them. He did not ask for favor. He did not mention loss. He knelt beside her and helped her sit. His hands were empty, his pockets too. Life had not rewarded him for kindness. He did not complain. "I never wanted what others took," he said quietly. No witnesses, no performance. "I only wanted you safe." Tears rose in her eyes for the first time in years. Not from pain, from recognition, from memory. He stayed as the sun fell, as fear lingered, as people hid behind doors. He gained nothing from being near her, no sudden wealth, no respect, only danger. She remembered the rule, but it felt different now. Not as threat, as weight, as choice. He looked at her without expectation. For the first time, someone remained without profit. The night grew quiet. The village held its breath. Something old and patient waited. Morning came slow, heavy. The village stayed distant. Windows closed, doors barred. Fear had replaced desire. She sat with the cloth tight against her body. It pulsed softly, like it was listening, like it was waiting. Power still lived there. She could feel it. If she stood, people would bow again. If she spoke, fear would obey. The man from her past sat quietly nearby. He did not ask her to choose him. He did not touch the cloth. He did not remind her of love. He simply stayed. She looked at the houses, at the road, at the space where the stranger had vanished long ago. The warning returned, clear and final. Never remove the cloth. For the first time, she understood the full cost. Keeping it meant power without love, respect without warmth, safety without peace. Removing it meant losing everything the village feared. Her hands shook, her chest tightened. Tears fell without sound. She stood slowly. People gasped from behind doors. She reached for the cloth. The rule screamed inside her mind. Never remove the cloth. She paused, looked at the man. He did not stop her. He did not beg. His eyes held only concern. With one steady breath, she chose love over fear. She pulled the cloth away. The air dropped, light vanished, the ground stilled. Power drained from her body like water into sand. She collapsed, weak but alive. No scream followed, no thunder, just silence. The rule had been broken fully now, and the world moved on. She lay there empty of magic, full of breath. The man caught her before she fell completely. For the first time, nothing was taken from her. They left the village quietly. No ceremony, no farewell. By morning, only stories remained behind them. Some said she had died. Others said the power had eaten her. No one followed. They built a small life far from crowds. A hut, a garden, 2 bowls, 2 mats. Nothing more. No riches came. No fear followed. Days were simple, honest. She worked, he worked. At night they ate together, in silence or laughter. No one bowed, no one begged, no one watched. The cloth was buried deep in the ground where no path crossed. The earth closed over it without sound. Nothing grew there. She never became great. She never became feared again. She became rested. Children were born nearby. They played without knowing her name. She smiled when they passed. Her life held no magic now, only breath and warmth. And when elders speak of her today, they do not argue about power. They speak of a woman who suffered, chose love, and paid the full price. They end the story with a simple warning, spoken low, as it was spoken to her long ago. Some rules give power, some rules take peace. And when a rule is broken, it always collects its debt.